And welcome, everyone, to another episode of the DuPage Run and Shoot. And as always, I'm your host, Patrick Cotto. We have a lot to touch on today. It is somehow, some way, I don't understand how, but it's the quarterfinals of the IHSA football playoffs. Hard to believe that it's here. We got Matt with us on the show. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Hanging in there right now. You and I got back from a big weekend of cross country down in Peoria. That was a lot of fun to cover. Made me feel like running cross country all over again. Just trying to catch up to where they all were running at.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I was on my feet a lot this weekend doing like all the doing the football on Friday at Central and then going down for cross country Saturday. So yeah, it was an adventure. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a third guest with us in the show. It is our good friend Stan Goff from the Daily Herald. Stan, how you doing?
Nice to meet you all. I'm glad to be a part of this fun group here.
Well, happy to have you on, Stan. And I cannot believe we're already at the quarterfinals.
It is kind of crazy. The football season, it seemed like the whole year has flown by, but sure enough, we are
This
in the
calendar year.
football.
It's like I've just seen you at basketball and baseball, and now boom, here we are, football.
God, yeah, this whole year has just flown by. I remember it felt like yesterday was just New Year's Day.
Well, we all probably woke up in different spots on New Year's Day. Let's put it there.
Oh God.
Depends on the route you're going with that, Matt. But
Yeah.
But anyway,
right
guys, before we jump into the quarterfinals, let's recap the second round. We'll start with 3A. Big upset. Montini takes down Byron 14-13.
Wow. I know just last week we were talking about what a tough task this was going to be for Montini, but I guess they passed the test.
Yeah. After Pat sent me the highlight of their game Byron's game
I'm sure you've seen this video, Stan, but the offensive lineman has like a famous intro. They're being carried in like a giant hog trail. They're like, going crazy, making that thing shake and stuff. It's amazing.
They love their football in Byron. I mean, and they're always good.
Yep, but apparently they weren't good enough last Saturday.
Yeah.
No. That was one I did not see.
Where did the horses come from, though, for Montini's? What I want to
know. That's a good question. But they worked.
It was a defensive battle. I can't say I'm quite surprised because you figured if you're going to play at Montini, you play against Montini, it's always going to be tough. Both teams are trading touchdowns. Jeremiah Peterson for Montini with the couple touchdowns on 110 yards rushing. Braden Knowles scored a touchdown for Byron with 10 seconds left. Byron decided to go for 2, and they did that against Dixon earlier this year, like at the end of the regular season. I applaud Byron for going for 2, but just a yard short.
Yeah. And the Broncos move on. They got a great tradition there. Just this was one that we didn't anticipate would carry on this year.
Well, Montini too. Before last year, Stan, they were terrible the past couple of years. They had 2, 3, and 6 campaigns. You're like, what the hell's going on with Montini football?
Yeah. But hey, they're coming back.
Yes, and I'm surprised Montini fans have DM'd us yet for going against them.
Just give it time. Just give it time. It's a pretty tight-knit community out there.
I'll give it some time. But Montini made the plays they needed to, and they got the win. Next game, Tafore. St. Lawrence continues to own Wheaton Academy, beating them 26-14.
Man, yeah. And that's a Wheaton Academy team that was used to scoring a whole lot of points, but
not this time.
This was a Wheaton Academy team that I think a lot of people, you and myself and you, Patch, were riding really high on this year. And
we were. And their only loss this year came to Second Baptist from Texas, which Texas high school football is pretty good.
Oh, God.
And they only lost to them by 2. So we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want
what we tend to learn this time of year, though, is you get to the second round of the playoffs. I mean, you tend to get a lot of one-sided first round games, but teams that get past that first round are usually there for a reason. But I thought Wheaton Academy was going to maybe go a little further than this.
Well, I'll tell you this, Dad, for the quarterfinals, oh boy, I don't see any lopsided games.
No,
But we'll
I don't mean to jump ahead or anything, but I was just looking at like Warren being a 27 seed, and they got a running back that's got like 700 yards, more than 700 yards the last 2 weeks.
I think he surpassed 1,000 yards, but yes, this running back is.
Yeah, I didn't mean to jump up to 8A, but
it's all good.
This time of year, crazy things happen, and this Warren running back, man, wow. But anyway, back to you guys.
Crazy things, crazy players. I mean, yeah, that's one of them, which we'll touch on, later in the show. But yeah, well, speaking of running backs, Harley Riz for St. Lawrence had 126 rushing yards and a touchdown, and he even caught a touchdown from his quarterback, Chase Kwiatkowski, who is back from injury. He got hurt in week 5. St. Lawrence has had full control in that game. Unfortunately, no overtime this time, as we saw last year between the two teams.
Wow. Hey, do we have a couple of highlights for the Wheaton Academy? I mean, they certainly had a tremendous season, and it just didn't go their way this week. But
yeah, feel bad for, they had a great team this year. Obviously, you had Brandon Keebles back at running back. Dude was a stud. Nathan Downey taking over for Brett Casper. But you know what? After, this has been a special 4 years for Wheaton Academy because they won their first home playoff football game in 2021. Last year, they made it to the semifinals. And this year, well, just couldn't get over the hump.
Yeah. I mean, they came in with what? They won 9. I think, like you said, they lost to Texas in the opener. So they brought a 9-game winning streak into this week. But it's just St. Lawrence kind of gave it to them.
Yeah, and St. Lawrence, man, they made the state last year too. And, this year they were able to get it done, get the win. Yeah. They're moving on. Unbelievable.
Because I was just glancing at Wheaton Academy, the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games prior to the playoff second round game, a minimum of 41 points, but they also had a 56 in there a couple of times, and so they had
55 against Christ the King. They had 55 last week against Sandwich.
I think you got to tip your hats to St. Lawrence defense. They must have really come out there and had a good.
Yep, Chicago Hope Academy, who made it to the 1A states to the 1A semifinals last year, they dropped 42 on them.
Yeah.
So wait, hold up. What I'm hearing from this whole thing is that Wheaton Academy is the equivalent of the Packers in the playoffs. Then they put up a bunch of godly points. They look God mode in offense the whole regular season, and then they run into a buzzsaw in the playoffs. That
were the Cowboys.
Sorry, I was going to say the Cowboys. Cowboys last year might have the last couple of years had one of the best offenses in football, and then playoffs.
Wait, are you a Cowboys fan?
Am I supposed to answer that question? I actually am, but I did go to the Bears game on Sunday.
Oh, my condolences.
The weather was nice. The Bears offense, not so much.
The Bears offense, yeah, but hey, there's hope. We fired Shane Waldron. Now we just need to hope for the other ninny on the coaching staff to be gone.
But yeah, so I mean,
if we have
you
to,
know, it might not have been Wheaton Academy's best day, but like I said, we have to. I wasn't at that game, but you got to tip your hat to St. Lawrence defense because they did something much much more impressive than the last 7, 8, 9 opponents that Wheaton Academy went up against.
yeah, no, I mean, really, Wheaton Academy's only toughest task they had before this game was against St. Charles East in week 2. They only beat them by 11.
Yeah, yeah. But that's taking a bigger school and giving them, putting 4 touchdowns on them. So yeah, it was a great season for Wheaton Academy. Just ran into a buzzsaw.
That's the unfortunate thing of playoffs. You run into those buzzsaws.
Yeah.
Just look at poor Naperville North, for example.
You had to go back there.
Yeah, I had to go back there. I covered that team. I covered North for the last half of the season. I was there covering them for that 63-62 game against Homewood Flossmoor, which I did not get home from until 4 a.m. and then had to be back out the door at 10 a.m. the very next day so I could cover girls tennis sectionals at West Aurora. So yeah, that was
that's the nature of this job sometimes, Matt.
That is just the nature of it sometimes. But you know what?
When you see a football game that has 120 plus points, it's not going to be an early evening.
No, but you know what? And it was worth it because it was the first time I ever achieved a video at NCTV over 1.1 thousand views.
Oh, so, that's good. It was
yeah, a lot of our big games lately got some big views on YouTube, which is awesome to see. Next game, we're going to go to 5A now. St. Francis takes down Prairie Ridge 30-21. A very impressive performance against St. Francis, considered that Prairie Ridge just loves to be a coach's worst nightmare, and that's run the triple option.
Well, I've been saying it since that Providence Catholic game where they got robbed on that quote unquote catch that resulted in a touchdown. That the Spartans are a pissed off football team, and they've been playing like it the past month and a half. They're just slicing down opponents on a weekly basis, and they're going to continue to do that as long as they can. And
well, Prairie Ridge also struck first in this game as well. Luke Vanderweil scored a touchdown. He actually had 2 in the game, and then the Spartans go on a 10-0 run and make it 17-7. Brady Palmer, what a way to step in for his quarterback last year, Alessio Melagiv. I don't even know where to start to say how to say it. But you know what I'm talking about, Stan.
Alessio M. We'll just leave
I think
there.
I do.
Yeah, Brady Palmer with 3 passing touchdowns in the game. Nick Petty scored a touchdown to make it 17-13, and then St. Francis just kept running up the scoreboard. Neither team scored a point in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was wild. It was 30-21 after 3, and it stayed 30-21.
And we thought, oh great, incoming a fourth quarter shootout, and then I guess both defensive coordinators were like, guys, stop it.
This is the playoffs. Play some defense.
Playoffs, play some defense. What, playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? Oh wait, we are in playoffs. But yes, they did play some defense. There's one specific team that didn't quite play defense last week in the second half, but got the win, which we'll touch on soon. But good to see St. Francis moving on once again. They got a big test coming up against Sycamore.
Yeah.
Next game, Rochelle 38, Bennett 6. Little disappointed in Bennett. I thought they were gonna put up more points.
Yeah, they had a nice season. They had a tough schedule where they took a lumps against some powers, but like you, I thought they would. I thought this was going to be a better second round game.
This was a Bennett team though that had a nice start to the season, but admittedly they did beat up on some teams they beat up some decent teams. DePaul College Prep, that was probably one of their more impressive wins. St. Patrick as well. But when you go up against some of these other powerhouses,
they beat an okay Hillcrest team, made the playoffs. They beat, an average Moline team who made the playoffs, and then they destroyed a De La Salle team that had to forfeit their season.
Yeah. And they barely held on against St. Viator, which that was another game I covered. But
you got to see Cooper Komet.
I did get to see Cooper Komet, but yeah, he gave the fans in the stands
Whew.
standing right next to me a heart attack. So that was another late one for me. But yeah, the Bennett team, it's disappointing for how good that offense has been this whole year. I mean,
I know, right? They
Mark,
looked impressive in that week one win against Hillcrest. I thought, okay, this offense looks consistent because
Yeah.
the past couple of years, that offense has not looked consistent.
no,
Yeah, I mean they had a good running game and they had like a trio of good receivers. They just
Well, at first, Stan, I didn't think the running game was that strong
no,
because in their first game against Hillcrest, I don't think I counted 10 running plays. I'm like, why are
wow.
you throwing the ball? This game's at like that first game, that went 3 hours. Their first game went 3 hours, a 35-13 win over Hillcrest. And I'm like, why aren't you guys running the ball? It worried me at first because, yeah, you can have a good passing game, but if you don't have a good running game, you're in
Yeah.
trouble. And then Martin
They had those two.
Rangowski turned into himself. I was like, okay, there's a
I
running
was gonna
game.
say once he got going, that coupled with they had the two Lukes on the outside. They they
yeah,
had a little balanced attack there going for a while, but they did run into some stiffer competition and took.
Fenwick, Mount Carmel, Nazareth. I
And
mean, those are
Eesh.
two of those are state.
I mean, those are three great teams, but they got pounded by all three of them. I mean,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can't say I'm surprised. And
yeah.
two of them are still alive in the playoffs.
Mm, yeah, which we'll touch on very shortly.
Yep. But yes, disappointing for Bennett. But
Yeah,
you know what? This is like their best season that they've had since 2017 when they made it to the semis.
Yeah, because I think it was if I'm correct, the last 3 years they were 4-5, just kept coming up short, and then this was the year. I mean, they made the playoffs. I think they won their division, if whatever for what that's worth, right?
The
I mean,
CCS, the CCHL, ESCC Purple Division.
yes.
How many
Yeah.
color divisions are there?
I'm not going to answer that. 'Cause I can't.
Exactly. But they had a good season, though. You know, anytime you win 6 games in a playoff game, that's a dub. Yes, you would have loved them to go far, but let's be real. They were going to get pounced next round anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they did get one touchdown last week. The quarterback Ryan Kabacki, I think.
Yeah, it was on like a trick play too.
Glenn Walsh
Like
or something. So,
yeah,
but
it was
yeah,
like
they needed more than one score last week.
Yeah.
yeah, Rochelle's running back Grant Getzler. Whew.
Mm.
Those farm boy schools is what I like to call them. Love to run the football.
The Hubs.
The Hubs. The Hubs. They love their football.
Old traditional football out there. That's how you got to play it.
Next game to 7A. This one was defense was on it on this one. Downers Grove North 13, Fenwick 10.
Wow.
Can't say I'm surprised. A good win for Downers Grove North. Defensive battle between the two teams. Antonio Colenzaz, if I said that right, for Downers North. Keep in mind, he's a linebacker. A linebacker hits the game-winning field goal.
Uh,
Hey, I mean, if he's got a leg, he's got a leg.
It's
Yeah.
like in Ndamukong Suh trying to kick field goals for the Lions years ago. At least this one went in though. I think.
Yeah.
Suh's
Well,
been
this
off
guy,
upright.
this kicker is not as good as the Lions kicker last Sunday against the Texans.
Oh,
Whew, two of those were just.
yeah. They were
Just went in. I'm like, okay. And the Trojans, I mean, they had a 10-0 lead in this game, but you figured Fenwick was going to score points.
Yeah.
I mean, Fenwick's has been a shaky team, though, throughout the playoffs because they only dropped 12 on Brother Rice and then 10 this time. So,
Yeah, Fenway's had a great defense all year long. Like you said, the offense has not always been up there with the defense, but they went down in a defensive struggle. But they, like I said, they got that Auburn. They have a defensive lineman heading to Auburn. I think he was originally going to Michigan, but
yes.
they've. I saw him play Bennett, and he was swatting passes at the line. He was getting sacks. He was dropping running backs for losses. So I mean,
Yes, that game. It was like, what, 42-7 Fenwick?
you didn't have to rub it in on Bennett again that much, but yes, the score was something like that.
We've had our fair share of rubbing it in on some teams. I think Mattia was that one team we just rubbed it in on a lot this season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unfortunately
Yeah.
for them, everyone did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of people have been doing that. But For the Trojans, though, a lot of the victories that they've had, we've credited a lot on their offense, but this one we have to give them a lot of their credit on their
Yeah.
defense because this
Both
could
teams
have
need to
gone
be
either way.
Downers North needs to be ready to go for this next one because
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Getting to there's going to be some good quarterfinal matchups.
I know I'm excited for this one they have, but before we get to that, let's touch on St. Rita taking down Willowbrook 21-9. Willowbrook's gas unfortunately ran out after their upset win over Hananiga.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they also lost their quarterback. I'm not sure what point he left the game, but they did lose their quarterback in the game, and it's
Oh,
not an easy thing to recover from in the playoffs.
well, the other
No.
thing too is that the Warriors had a 3-0 lead, and then came a 21-0 run by the Mustangs.
Yeah, that's Willowbrook. They put a lot of teams on notice this year, though, with upsetting Hananega at Hananega, by the way. So
Yeah, and if they had to go up Friday night up there, and they just took it to them. They didn't just
And
beat
I
them.
think I think they may have opened the season 1-3 and won 6 straight before last week. So
They
I
were,
mean,
oh yeah, they were the hottest
give
team
them
in
credit.
June.
They got things going really well. I just ran into a
Well,
9-2
one of their
squad.
losses was a last-second touchdown to Glenbard East.
A good playoff squad. So yeah, I mean, Willowbrook they had a nice season.
Yep. Good for Willowbrook. Anytime you get into the playoffs and win a playoff game, that's a win.
I think they got a 53-yard touchdown run from Charlie Siegler to kind of cap off their season scoring. It just wasn't enough against
in
us.
Garbage time.
Yeah.
Yeah, James Kingsbury, right?
The last touchdown they got, I thought, was Charlie Siegler. I'd heard he'd gotten like a 53-yard run. The first one might have been Kingsley.
Okay, but yeah, no, the touchdown came in garbage time, that's for sure. But
yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's like, so I look at that, I was like, oh, they hung with them. Like, oh no, they didn't. The touchdown came in garbage time.
Yeah.
But again, good for Willowbrook. They got into the playoffs. They won a playoff game. So yeah. All right, to 8A. Let's start off with Glenbard East, who got walloped by Stevenson 35-7. A lot of people are, talking about, Lincoln Way East, Loyola's hot, Naperville Central, Lyons Township. Do not sleep on Stevenson.
No.
They're in the quarterfinals for the first time since 2014, which is, by the way, when they last won the state championship.
Oh. the stars are lining up for them.
But now we could touch on this game in a minute, but they play at Lincoln Way East in the quarters.
It's going to be at Lincoln Way East.
We can get back to that later. I know
it's all good. It's all good.
Totally agree with you that Stevenson's having a great year, and to put a thumping 35-7 on the Rams is impressive. So yeah.
And the Patriots were a couple plays away from going down 14-0. The Rams scored the first touchdown of the game with Michael and Eve finding Lucas Freeze. Rams got a turnover, about to go up 14-0. Patriots D gets a massive stop, forces the Rams to kick a field goal, and they miss it. And then the Patriots got on their thing. The Aiden show again. Aiden Crowley got the Patriots on the board. The touchdown pass to Thomas Simmons. Then Crowley threw back-to-back touchdowns to Zach Hirsch to make it 21-7. And then the other Aiden Elliott scored a touchdown. So yeah, once the Patriots started scoring, they were like, okay, how about another one? And another one.
Didn't stop.
And another one. And another one. And another one. And another one. And another one.
Yeah, I've been told Hirsch has got a lot of talent. He had a couple long touchdown catches. I think he also had a touchdown. He had a kickoff return for a touchdown, but it was called back by a penalty. So,
yes, and that was on their I think that was on like their first return of the game.
Yeah, so he had to settle for 2 touchdowns.
Hey, he still got his touchdown. Stevenson got the dominating 35-7 win. Oh, tough for the Rams, though. I for sure thought they would make it back to the quarters. But when I saw Stevenson, I'm like, oh, boy.
Well, now, and also, was Glenbard East 7A last year and bumped up to 8A this year?
Yeah, they were 7A last year, made it to the
quarters, I think.
Yeah. Well, Glenbard East kind of got a easy draw for their first 2 games. They had to play Harlem, who's okay. They had to play Addison Trail and beat them, and then they ran into Normal. Where that game was a tale of 2 halves. I don't know if you saw what happened in that game, Stan, but Glenbard East was down 14-0. And then they scored 28 answer points to lead 28-14. And then it just gets funnier and funnier.
Because you have a better memory than me. You're going in the Wayback Machine. I'm like,
Normal goes on a 31-0 run to win 45-28. I'm like,
wow. Wow.
What the hell's going on?
Big time turnaround.
Yep. But good season for the Rams. They'll be back next year. You know the Rams.
Yeah. A good program.
Great program. They used to be everyone's punching bags 10 years ago.
Yeah. That's
not anymore.
I remember the last time Central beat them. Central 50-pieced them. Of course, that was in 2013.
Yeah, that was
a long time ago.
Yep.
Those were good days for the Red Hawks, which, speaking of which, was almost about to not happen on Friday night.
Well, we'll see. Next game, Lions Township 63, Downers Grove South 20. Downers Grove South crashed back down to earth.
This was one we kind of expected to see. Lions was just the far superior team. They can rack up a lot of points. They beat Downers Grove North. That was their only loss of the year. And Downers Grove South, they were right there for easy pickings.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah. Well, no, Downers Grove South, against good teams, their defense is just a no-show. Because if you look at their losses, they have 3 losses this year. They lost to Downers North 42-0, York 54-21, and they give 63 to Lions. So yeah, their defense was just not good against good teams.
Yeah, and in their defense, LT's been doing that to a lot of teams this year.
Lions Township. Listen to this. Listen to the score in their last 3 games. Lions Township 151-26 in their last 3 games.
Yeah,
you can't bet against a team with a point differential like that the last 3 games. That's just that's insane.
And then I think leading up to those 3 games, it was a pretty impressive 17-point win over York. So they
at York too.
Yeah,
and York is not a team you can easily sleep on as well.
York's a team you can't sleep on. Naples Central is obviously a team you can't sleep on. It's the quarterfinals. No, you can't sleep on any team in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
But good for the Lions. Travis Stam.
Oh boy.
Two-way player, 3 touchdown catches and 3 interceptions.
I know. It's like getting 2 hat tricks in hockey, or scoring a hat trick and also being the shutout goalie. It's like 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions.
He had to take super long 3 goals. Like, long goal, long goal. But yeah, very impressive. They're going to need him for this next matchup, which again, that is coming up soon.
But like me and Pat were at the Naperville Central game last week, and they were announcing the score every once in a while. And early on, Downers South was kind of hanging with them, and then next thing you know, it's like, we're in the 40s, or we're in the 50s, or we're in the 60s.
We're almost at that game, Stan. But first, we got to touch on this game. York with the 35-17 win over Oswego. I can't say I'm surprised.
Nor am I. Pat, I think you and I both picked York
we did
last week to do this after Waubonsie. After Oswego they had trouble putting Waubonsie away in that game. It was a win, but it was an ugly one for sure. And
then York's offense was just put it away. Both teams traded touchdowns, then York blew it up. Jimmy Connors had 2 touchdowns to seal the deal. This is a special York team.
Yeah.
If you look at the seeds, obviously you got Oswego 3, York 14, but like you guys were saying, going into the game, it was like, we didn't think Oswego was going to run over York, and they certainly didn't. They got run over.
Well, the seeding has been very interesting this year. You mentioned with York being a 14-seeded team, and we talked about it a lot last week with Maine South being seeded towards the bottom a little bit and taking on Naperville North, and a lot of players felt disrespected by that seeding.
Yeah, I would never want to face Maine South in the playoffs.
No, especially first round.
No. Not even second round if you're West Aurora.
Yeah, that game didn't go well as planned. But yes,
Nope.
good for York. They're moving on to the to the next round. To our final recap of the second round. Save the best for last, they always say. Naperville Central 31, Fremd 28.
Oof.
So this was clearly a tale of two halves.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, we all thought it was going to be an amazing game going down to the wire, and it did go down to the wire, but it was not an amazing first half in terms of two teams battling tight. I mean, Redhawks jump up 24-0. It looks like it was going to be a laugher.
And then Johnny O'Brien turned into the Johnny O'Brien that people were expecting coming into that game.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, he came into that game
He had
with
over 400 passing yards in the game. He had a couple to Marquand Brewster, one to Brandon Sachs.
Yeah, I think Brewster might have had 3, but this is a Central defense that is not used to giving up a whole lot of points and a whole lot of yards.
I don't know what happened to that Central secondary because you look at those touchdowns. Those receivers just got behind the defense.
Yeah, and then he dropped the ball right in on their chest all the time. And I mean, he was just he throws a nice ball, and they caught him and they kept running.
Yeah, Johnny O'Brien, I mean, again, great quarterback, but dude, in the second half, he was just unloading some dimes.
I was gonna say, you go ahead.
I was about to get into witness protection here in the middle of this game because I texted Pat. Pat was working this game, and he texted me the score 31-8 midway through the third quarter, and I just said, "Oh, this is gonna be a blowout here. The Central's got this one." And then, Frem proceeds to put up 20 unanswered, and Pat was just texting me, and I was just slowly just starting to become more nervous for my safety.
Well, before it really got crazy, I mean, Frem got their first touchdown in the second half to make it 24-8. And then Central runs an end-around play with Jermaine Kennedy. I liked. He couldn't hold on to the ball. Buddy.
It was a nice run, but he lost the ball.
Hold on to the ball. And then Gavin's like, here, I'll take the points right back. Get to pick Gavin Wade back from injury. Matt Lauterbach, Gavin Wade, and Aaron Nussbaum are back. They are back.
Yeah. And just to clarify that a little bit is Friend went down and scored a touchdown and a 2-pointer. They got the 8 points to start the second half. They got it in less than 2 minutes. So it's 24-8.
Yeah, those touchdowns. Friend played some smart football last Friday. They were throwing sideline passes to guys like That was some really smart football.
Friend gets a little bit of a spark. They got that really quick touchdown. Central fumbles, and it's like, this could turn in a hurry. And boom, Gavin Wade, who had been out with an injury, pick 6, 55 yards. And that seemed to really turn the tide. And then it's 31-8. And you're like, okay, now they're back on track. But Johnny O'Brien wasn't quite done yet.
Yep. He throws another touchdown. And then Sebastian Hayes throws an interception. And then they score another touchdown. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
That 31-8 turned into 31-28 with still close to 5 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. So
then at one point in the game too, Central went a full jumbo package to try to put the game away. They were marching, and I thought, Aiden Clark's going to put it away, which was close to my score prediction last week, Matt, because I predicted 38-24 in that game. It was about to be 38-21, and then Aiden Clark with a rarity. He fumbled.
That was
into the end zone.
Close.
Yeah, Aiden Clark fumbled.
You never really see that. Never really see that at all from Aiden Clark, which is that's like Travis Kelce giving up the rock in a Chiefs game. It's rare I ever see it happen.
Yep. And then what does Frem do?
It made things interesting.
Scored another touchdown, and then Central's like, all right, boys, let's put it away. The play that sealed the game was Aaron Nussbaum catching a pass on the bootleg when he wasn't even supposed to do that.
Yeah, and he said he hadn't been targeted since his sophomore year more than 2 years ago. He also was coming back from a torn ACL that he, suffered in October at Lockport. So nobody thought he'd be back this quick. And so that just kind of added to the storybook finish for the Redhawks.
Well, it just shows how tough these players are and stuff, Dan. They love playing football. They don't want to, they don't want to do the surgery. They want to play. They want to fucking play.
senior year, he wanted to go out, go as far as possible. And thanks to him and some of his teammates, they're moving along.
Yep, they're alive to play another day. Like they went a full jumbo package on that put away drive.
Yeah.
Yep, but good to see him back. Gavin Wade back, who played a huge role in that pick six.
Yeah, and I think Garrett Nichols and Deshaun Williams each caught touchdowns in the first half when
Garrett
things
Nichols,
were all going smoothly for the Red Hawks.
I love Garrett Nichols going both ways.
Yeah, good player.
Vince Byrne unfortunately had a touchdown wiped off because of a penalty, which sucks because I like Vince Byrne.
Yeah.
But the defense in the first half to help blank Fram had a big interception as well as a big strip sack. So.
Oh yeah, they had the strip. Nick Zabilat had a huge red zone interception.
Yeah,
like Central was rolling, but you can't say we're not quite surprised of how that second half went down. We knew Frem was gonna blow it up.
Yeah. Nothing but respect for Johnny O'Brien with the way he was firing the ball.
The guy had 2,000 passing yards coming into the game, and he just surpassed 3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
so but no, Johnny O'Brien, he's only a junior, so do not sleep on this Frem team for years to come.
Yeah.
Hey, and he's a lefty too. I'm a lefty thrower.
Yeah, I'm a lefty too.
Yeah, I'm a lefty, so I got a lot of respect for the lefty throwers out there.
Central's got a tough opponent coming up though, so we'll see what happens. But it's playoffs. I mean, what else could this is where all the big dogs come in, as Rowan Keefe said a couple years ago, Stan. I don't know if you remember, but bring the baseball bats, bring the nunchucks, bring the baseball bats, bring the nunchucks. It's gonna be a war. It is gonna be a war.
Yeah, Naperville Central at LT should be. There's a few really good games this week, but that should be a day.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
Great game for sure. But anyway, let's go on to our IHSA games of the week. Our first one, and I am not quite surprised on the score. Bradley Bourbonnais 42, Whitney Young 0. Whitney Young had no business being the 1 seed in 7A. They really didn't.
They didn't play like a 1 seed in the second round.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that. It was scoreless after 1, and then Bradley Bourbonnais scored 21 points in the second quarter.
Oh, it's not a good tone to set your team into halftime. They're giving up 21 points in the second.
And then they score 7 in the third, and then a couple more later. And Bradley Bourbonnais, they're a good team.
They are. I mean, and you hate to pick on the Chicago public league schools, but I mean, Whitney Young, they should not have been a number 1 seed.
Nope, they were not, only because they were 9-0. Whitney Young and Quincy were the only undefeated teams in 7A going into the playoffs. I would have put it Quincy as my number 1 seed in 7A because they got a good offense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they didn't lose 35-0 in the second round.
Yep. Well, good for Bradley Bourbonnais to keep it going. Bradley Bourbonnais got, who would have thought this? Lincoln Way Central. We got a 24-17 matchup in the quarterfinals in 7A.
Lincoln Way
Central, you're used to hearing about Lincoln Way East all the time, but
Lincoln Way Central, that's another team you don't want to sleep on.
Yep. Next game, Mount Carmel 48, St. Charles North 15.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Well, it's funny too. St. Charles North was up 8-7 after 1, and then Mount Carmel turned into Mount Carmel.
Which they tend to do.
Yes, no matter what their record is right now. Mount Carmel and Loyola had okay years, and they're still in the playoffs.
They're about to break this man on live stream here.
Yeah, they're trying to. I thought, they got these teams got him. Nope,
not quite. Next
game, Maine South, with a dominating 41-6 win over West Aurora.
Yeah.
See, if Naperville North won against Maine South in the first round, they would have easily destroyed West Aurora.
Yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
And if they would have had somebody other than Maine South, they could have maybe found a second round opponent because they were a strong offense, but you're a scary team. But
but their defense, and you saw their defense in week 2 against Naperville North, Stan. It was not impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure they had that one turnover early in the game. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Hey, what's Maine South guy? What's his name?
Jameson Purcell. That guy's
Jameson
special.
Purcell. Yeah, he's another
He's
special
also
guy.
a lefty.
Yeah, another lefty, and he's a sophomore, so he's got plenty of time left in the tank.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what his numbers are, but I think in the playoffs he's got to have, something
Yeah.
crazy like.
Both him and Jacob Bell combined for, Stan, I kid you not, over 900 yards in that game.
And he might have had 5 or 6 touchdowns, and then he had a few more this week. I mean, he's your IHSA fantasy playoff quarterback so far.
If there could be an IHSA fantasy app, please. Please. If there was fantasy. I think with how these players are in all the states, I think we'd be scoring 200 points a week.
I was gonna say I'm taking Purcell as my quarterback and that running back from Warren.
Like we're seeing matchups as probably fantasy matchups as probably 250 to 247, because that's how good some of these players are. And you could take Stan, like you mentioning Purcell and the guy from Warren.
Aaron
I'll take
Stewart,
I'll take Johnny O'Brien.
Oh yeah,
man.
right.
Give me Johnny O'Brien. Give me Aiden Clark. Give me Marquand Brewster. Give me Deshaun Williams. Give me Quinn Morris. Give me Brock Petaway. Give me Chico Thomas. Just give me.
No, God, that.
Yeah, I think we might have sold Brewster short when I think you had mentioned he might have had 2 touchdowns against Central. I think he had 3. I think he
had 3. He did have
like
3. He had 2 in the third quarter, and then he had the 1 late in the game.
Yeah. And so their number 2 receiver had to settle for something like 131 yards and a 45-yard touchdown. So.
Still, though, I mean, both those guys played great. That's a good offense that Central beats.
Yes, it is.
But I'll tell you this, though, Stan, and you probably will agree with me. If Fremd got the ball one more time, I think it would have been over for Central.
Yeah, Fremd was about to wipe out a 24-0 halftime deficit, and if you take away that pick six, obviously it happened. Credit to Gavin Wade, but wow, that was a good second. It was an impressive second half for the offense for Fremd. They were scary.
Well, if you had Central's defense on your fantasy team, your points probably went from let's see. Maybe
you were hoping the game would end at the half.
Yeah.
At the half, you're like,
I thought
interception and fumble recovery, no points.
Well, it's funny too. When Gavin Wade had the interception, I was like, all right, we have some control.
And
the Central parents next to me were about to have heart attacks.
Yeah.
I think
I remember
everyone in that
Troy
stadium.
Cashell's mom was right next to me. She was about to have a heart attack.
And it was crazy to watch because he was taking a very good Naperville Central defense and just picking it apart.
Yep.
But hey, Naperville Central moves on and they don't. So.
Yep. You know what, Stan? Sometimes games are won ugly.
Hey, that's just how it is.
That's playoffs. You just survive in advance.
That's just how the Bengals won and got to the Super Bowl in 21-22. It was. They won a lot of close, ugly playoff games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, next playoff game that was one that kind of triggers me. Loyola 24, Marist 20. Marist. Why?
Another one that lives rent-free in his head.
Marist, you went to the playoffs at 8-1. What happened?
I loved it. I liked it too. When we were filming Stay Cross Country that day, I had like a couple minutes of downtime and I looked at my phone and I saw in Slow Shay the Marist fans, they were just ready. They were getting the tailgates ready. They were barbecuing. They were actually, I think, grilling shaped burgers shaped in Loyola's mascot. I forget what it was, but it was just like they were just like eating them up and just like, they were just feasting on them. Well, Loyola, have fun with that because Loyola feasted on you big time at the end of that game.
Ryan Fitzgerald feasted on them with with 2 touchdowns. Evan McPherson with touchdowns. Both teams were pretty much in a shootout and stuff, but unfortunately, Loyola made more plays. Even Jacob Britter, who's looked impressive all year for Marist, couldn't do much.
Yeah. Both teams are 9-2, but only one's moving on.
Yeah, it's just who was the better team at this point, and that ended up being Loyola, unfortunately, to Patrick Cotto's chagrin.
Yes. And Loyola, we'll see how they do against Maine South, but if we could see Loyola Lincoln Way East in the semis. No.
Oh boy. Hey, that'd still be a heck of a semis though.
Yeah. We just hope Lincoln
Oh, it
Way
would
East
be a heck of a
wins.
semis. Pat just doesn't want to see it.
I wouldn't mind Lincoln Way East. I got nothing against Lincoln Way East.
Yeah. No, Lincoln Way East, which I can definitely see them going extremely far.
They got dudes.
Yeah.
They always do.
Yep.
Oregon should be excited for Jonas Williams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that he's going to be the next bright star there, I can imagine.
Yep. Well, if Johnny O'Brien keeps it up, don't sleep on him. Purcell for Maine South, don't sleep on
same with
him.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a good variety of quarterbacks out there, and I love it.
Yep.
But yeah, no, hard to believe that. Oh boy, it's the quarterfinals. But speaking of quarterfinals, let's get into our DuPage games of the week coming up, quarterfinal edition. First one, Montini versus Princeton. Princeton always getting the short end of the stick, playing these good schools in the quarterfinals. But Princeton,
I don't know much about Princeton this season, but
they have a good running back. That they have a really good running back.
After last week, I have a hard time going against the Broncos.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm definitely taking Montini in this one. This one for sure. Anytime I bet against Montini, they always do the unthinkable. So I'm going Montini in this one. Stan, I'm sure you're taking Montini in this one.
I'm going with Montini here. Broncos country, let's ride. We're gonna go with Montini.
Are we gonna see more horses?
Maybe. But watch out for Casey Etheridge, though. The dude has over 1,600 yards of rushing. Next one, St. Francis versus Sycamore.
This is my first time on this show. I got to be kind of nice to DuPage,
Well, I'm going with St. Francis on this one. A lot of these players have adjusted. They definitely proved that, we belong in this. I'm going to take St. Francis on this one.
Yeah, I'm going with the Spartans. They're just.
I was going to say I was going to ride the hot Spartans. I just didn't want to seem like too much of a homer, but hey, go Spartans.
It's hard to bet against them right now. They've been playing some good football, and like I said, they've been playing pissed off football ever since that game against Providence.
Yes. Next game. Oh boy. Downers Grove North versus Batavia. Batavia's coming in off a come from behind win against Lincoln Way West.
Man, this
is tough.
That's tough.
Yeah.
And this is in Batavia, so
yeah, they have to go to Batavia on Saturday.
You know what? This is gonna be a bit of a bold pick here, but I'm going with the Trojans on this one. I'm going with the road team.
I respect that, Matt, but I got to go Batavia on this one.
Yeah, this is two great programs, but Batavia for quite a few years now just turns it up on the playoffs, man. I don't know.
Always find a way to reload. You lost Ryan Bowe. I was like, oh, Batavia might have an okay. Nope.
Yeah, I mean, this one's a coin toss. I think I'm expecting this to be a really good game, but I guess I'm going with the home Bulldogs. I hope I'm wrong. The lady lives across the street from me teaches at Downers North, so hopefully for her sake, the Trojans pull it off. She'll be knocking on my door. Hey, what's your problem?
She'll see this show soon enough.
Next game, Naperville Central versus Lyons Township. Another game, Stan, that you should consider a coin toss.
Yeah. And my little sister teaches AP biology at LT. It's
Oh.
just a few blocks from me. I played pickleball with some LT people last night, but
Oh,
I can't go against the magical Nussbaum family, with Andy on the
yeah.
sidelines
Well,
and his
especially
son's
when Central
playing.
is, back at full force now.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
And
I
plus,
again,
this is the quarterfinals. Any team is good. Central is, they're looking for revenge because Lions Township beat them a couple years in the first round.
Yeah, it should be a great game, and I'm sure Lions Township's favored. And here's the dumbest remark I'll say of the night. If their same guy gets 3 interceptions and 3 touchdowns, I think the Red Hawks are in trouble. But I
Yeah.
don't anticipate them getting 3 picks. It should be a great game. I
No,
mean,
no,
it should be
no.
a
Well,
No.
anytime,
great game.
anytime, anytime Central turns the ball over, Coach Ulrich tries to, play
Mm.
other drives safe and stuff.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
was just making a silly remark. I'm picking the Red Hawks, but it should be a dandy.
I'm taking the Red Hawks in this one too. I'm not being a homer. I just think with Central back in full force, like they're a team you don't want to mess with.
Let me say this. I have people that I am close with who previously and currently are students and teachers at Naperville Central. You guys wanted to throw me into the straitjacket last week after I almost jinxed them against Fremd and
Wait, did
probably
they
should
did
have
they did
deserved.
they know about that, Matt?
Yeah, I told some of them, and one of them, and they just said that they were lucky it did not go an extra drive, because that could have been a whole lot worse. But you know what? You wanted to throw me in witness protection, and you know what? I just say right now, I'm gonna get my ticket ready for this one because I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I am going with Lions Township on this one. I have nothing against Naperville Central
All right,
football.
you're
I
making.
think
It's
I
a
think
it's
it's
it's it's a
it's
toss up game and stuff. Again, it's the
it's a toss-up
quarterfinals.
game.
All games are
They're-
toss ups, but I respect the pick.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
they're unbeaten for a reason, and they've beaten some good
Yeah.
teams along the way, including Downers North. So it's not,
Yes.
And they and,
Yeah.
and Lions Township had to come back in that game.
I am.
Yeah.
Now if Central was down Aaron Nussbaum and Gavin Wade, I probably would have leaned
Yeah.
my favorite towards Lions Township. But since Central's at full force, yes, guys are playing, hurt,
Right.
but that's the nature of
Yeah.
the game.
That's the nature of
Yeah.
the game. With them back in the lineup, I definitely think this is going to be a close game.
Nobody
But-
gets past 24 points in this game.
Probably not. Probably not.
I'm going to go Naperville Central 24, Lions Township 20.
All right. I like that score prediction. I am also going to go 24 for the winner, Lions Township. I'm going to say this game comes down to a field goal. Lions Township wins on a walk-off field goal 24-21 over the Red Hawks.
I like that pick.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I agree that I think they're both going to be in the 20s. I did pick the Red Hawks. I can't still pat score, so I'm going to go. I'm going to go 27-20 Naperville Central.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I like
There we
that.
go.
I like that. I like that. Again, this game could go either way. It's the quarterfinals. All teams are good.
Yeah.
So
It's
we'll
at
see.
LT, and it's, yeah.
Not an easy place to win.
That's hostile territory right there, especially.
But we shall see. It's going to be a great game on Friday. Next one. Another good one. Warren versus York. Aaron Stewart. This kid for Warren is special.
He's having a couple of weeks, if not a season. But yeah, I mean, 2,000 yards for the season is pretty impressive. But in the playoffs, I mean, he's got took a 27 seed and put him on his shoulder and ran for what, 363 and 373.
It's look.
God.
I'm sure a lot of big name teams, Stan, are very grateful not to have gotten Warren in the first round.
Wow.
York is one of those teams, but now they have to go up against them.
I think he's probably rushed for more yards in each of his playoff games than my Dallas Cowboys will get this season.
It's not looking good for you boys there. Should have got Derrick Henry.
Oh, I know. The rumors were Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, and even
instead, you guys decided to waste a lot of money on Dak Prescott, and how's that going?
and bring Delvin Cook and Zeke Elliott out of
God.
and dusted those two
bring
out.
them. bringing them out of their retirement home. Hey, I
Cook's
mean,
got like
the
18
contract.
yards. Zeke has maybe 85. Anyway,
Oh man,
yeah, I haven't gotten to see York this year, but they're on a nice playoff roll here.
I mean, you got Bruno Massol, Hunter Stepanek, a tight end, defensive end you don't want to sleep on. Yeah, he goes both ways. Jimmy Connors. And York, they reload, even without their head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, this will be a fun game on Friday as well. Yeah, Aaron Stewart on Mac, he has over 2,300 rushing yards.
How did Warren go 5-4 in the regular season?
That's a great question. That is a great question.
just hand the ball off to Aaron Stewart the whole time. You'll go undefeated.
They
in
lost
no
they lost to Maine South, Lake Forest, Stevenson, and Liberty.
Well,
No,
we three of those teams we just talked about still being going to the quarterfinals.
Those are four good teams, and then they pull off an upset win at Palatine. They beat Barrington, who's also got a good running game, and now we'll see how they do against York.
Yeah.
I'm going to go York in this one, but Aaron Stewart is probably still going to run all over the place.
Aaron Stewart's going to open up a can of whoop ass, but it's going to be too much for Warren.
I think York is probably going to have a little more whoop ass because they have more than just a running game.
Yeah.
Brutal Massel's been impressive all year.
I'm thinking Stewart maybe gets 200, but he's not getting 360.
No.
York will not allow 360.
No.
All right. Well, that'll do it for our DuPage games of the week. Now to our IHSA games of the week. We're going to start in 1A, and I'll likely handle this one. Gibson City, Melvin Sibley versus 1A powerhouse Lena Winslow. Lena Winslow loves to score points, but Gibson City, Melvin Sibley has allowed only 7 points in the postseason.
Wow.
So far. I'm still going to take Lena Winslow with how well they run the ball.
Gibson City, Melvin Sibley. That's just such like a catchy school name right there. That's just such a toony school name. You could literally put that in like a song lyrics right there.
I've driven through Gibson City in the past, and it might have been like 200 residents. So that's why they're merged with they hyphenated with somebody to field of football.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm going to take Lena Wins on this one just because they know how to win.
Sounds good. I won't argue that.
That's a team I know you all have heard of.
Yeah.
Next one. This will be a good one. Benton versus Monticello. A school down from Southern Illinois, Stan. I'm in Benton. This is a team that's been rolling lately in the playoffs.
Yes, when we were in the Carbondale area with the Go Dogs, we would hear a lot about Benton. Yeah, I think you have a good basketball program too. But I
was going to say, Stan, when you were at Southern Illinois, was Benton the main powerhouse?
They were good back then. Yes, yeah.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Well, this year it's Benton and Murfreesboro that's out here kicking ass so far. But you know what? Benton versus Monticello, that's going to be a good game.
Yeah. Is Monticello another Southern Illinois team?
I think Monticello's like Central Illinois. Benton's Southern Illinois.
Okay.
South of us, but not all the way down to Carbondale.
It's not all the way down there. Carbondale's like right on the Kentucky-Illinois border.
About an hour away from the Illinois-Kentucky border, but
that's close enough.
Yeah, close enough. But yeah, no, Monticello, I'm in pretty even matchup and stuff. Both teams love to score points, so we'll see. But I'm going to go with Benton in this one.
I'm going to go with the Southern Illinois team in Benton, too. They've been rocking it.
Unanimous.
All right.
Next one. Up to 5A we go. Morgan Park versus Morris.
Okay, that's more like it.
Yep. There we go.
Because I'm so old, when I started at the Naperville Sun back in the 80s, I used to cover all the Wabansie games, and they were in the Little 7 conference with Morris. So I'd always drive down to Morris to see the Warriors play, and that's a football town. Morgan Park's had some great athletes the last few years, but Morris has always been good in football, and I I guess I'll stick with
Yeah.
Morris.
Yeah, Morris is currently on a hot streak right now. They so far have been pulling upsets in the playoffs. They came in as a 13 seed, dropped 57 on 4-seeded Triad, 36 on 5-seeded Highland, and now we'll see how they do against Morgan Park. They got a really good running game right now with Griffin's Weirs had 2 touchdowns in the previous game for Morris. But these teams love to explode on offense.
Yeah.
Morgan Park, I mean, they've had a very impressive season this year. They got it all in the passing game, the running game. Daxton, the quarterback, is almost at 2,000 yards. Terrence Gurley has 910 rushing yards.
Yeah, I think I'm going to
wouldn't surprise me at all if Morgan Park wins, but like I said, I'm just for historical purposes, nostalgic purposes. I'm going with Morris.
Without Morris is playing, I think Morris can honestly pull the upset.
Yeah, so do I. I'm definitely going to go with Morris here in this one too. I'll be riding with you on that one, Stan.
Yep, I'm going with. It'll be fun. We're all going Morris.
Yep.
Yep, Morris on this one.
Well, Morgan Park is. I just realized they're the top seed at 10-1, but we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Next game, 6A. Geneva versus Lake Forest.
Oh boy.
How about Taylor fucking Taylor?
I heard he's okay.
Yeah, he is. They say Taylor can catch touchdowns. They're not wrong.
Jeez.
Yeah, I got to go with the Vikings.
Yeah, I got to go with the Vikings in this one. Though Lake Forest did come up a big win against Libertyville, Geneva's playing their best football in a long time. This is Geneva's first.
Yeah.
Geneva hasn't made the semifinals since 2008, last time they went to state.
Yeah, I got to go with the Vikings here too.
Taylor, as over 1,000 yards receiving. Anthony Chihino, I'm in. Love this Vikings team.
And they've scored, 49 and 42 in their 2 playoff games? I mean,
that's about right.
They got the offense clicking.
Yep. Next game, Normal Community versus Mount Carmel.
Boy, another game that I'm sure Pat wants to have a specific team win.
I wish, but I don't think Normal Community has it against Mount Carmel.
I don't see it for them either.
Jack Elliott's playing another level right now. Keep in mind, Mount Carmel lost to 3 good teams this year. They lost to Han from New Jersey, if that's the name of the school. They also lost to Loyola and Brother Rice. So 3 damn good teams.
And St. Charles North was a 9-1 team that they whooped in last week.
So they're likely going to whoop Normal Community.
Yeah, more than likely.
Great.
More than likely. Yeah, sorry.
And then they would, if they were to do so, they'll get the winner of Quincy and St. Rita in the semis.
Yes. Oh, that should be a good one if it's Quincy.
Yeah.
We'll see. Next game to 8A. This will be a good one. Stevenson versus Lincoln Way East.
That's definitely a good one.
I think Lincoln Way East will pull the win, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, definitely going to be a close one. I think some people are going to be sleeping a little bit too much on Stevenson, just a little bit. I'm still going to give them the L in this one, but I'm going to actually go 34-27 final score prediction. Lincoln Way East.
Wow. Lincoln Way East's closest game of the year. Okay, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, they saved the best battles for playoffs. They saved their toughest battles for the playoffs as well, and that's why I'm going to give it that score.
Yeah, they've rolled in the first 2 playoff games, but I can't pick against Lincoln Way East here. But Stevenson's had a great year. They got a solid team. They could make it interesting. But I'm thinking the Griffins maybe by 10.
Yep.
Yeah, double digits for sure. Last one. Maine South versus Loyola.
A 12 a 12 versus a 20 in the quarter.
Yeah, you know what? The way Maine South's playing, give me Maine South.
Yeah, I know, and for Pat's sake too, I'm gonna go with Maine South here.
Defense is going to be optional in this game, but the way Jamison Purcell has played, go
Yeah.
crazy, my man. Go crazy.
You cannot bet against Jamison Purcell in this one.
Yeah.
I'm going with him here.
But you also can't get.
I'll go with Maine South as well for a couple of reasons. I want to make the Naperville North Huskies feel better that they lost a tough opener against a team that goes on to the semis, and then also since Purcell's my fantasy quarterback, you know.
All right, Stan Goff's the man behind IHSA fantasy football. I love it. Yeah, but for that, all scores would definitely be surpassing 200 points.
Yeah.
The way these high school athletes light it up.
Although Purcell won't be able to hand the ball to Stewart because he's going to be throwing on every down, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, Michael DeLumo's not a bad running back for Maine South.
No, not at all.
Yep, Nick, Naughton, they got some good options.
Yeah.
Yep. And that is it for our games of the week. Now we wrap up with our team of the week from DuPage County. Matt and Stan, who are your DuPage County teams of the week?
Stan, you're our guest, so I'm gonna
let the guest go first.
Lead on this
well,
one.
I'm kind of new to the show. Am I picking my favorite team from this past week, or am I looking ahead?
For this past week for DuPage County.
Wow. Well, I mean, I think maybe if you have to go with just the surprise end of it, Montini. I mean, I was at the Naperville Central game. It was a fabulous, wild back and forth game to watch with, great to see Gavin Wade come back from an injury. Great to see Aaron Nussbaum come back from an injury. It was, and seeing Andy Nussbaum on the sidelines after the game, just filled with pride. That was a great experience.
His famous quote, "Yeah, baby."
I'm talking to Aaron and trying to get some quotes, and Andy's like, "My son's a knucklehead." but all that aside, the team of the week, just because it was quite a surprise, was to see Montini kind of, after some tough years, kind of get back to where they used to be.
Yeah, props to them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, my team of the week, just because it's pure domination on this team's part, and they got a tough match up against Naperville Central this week. It's Lions Township. I'm sorry to my Red Hawk faithful out there. I love you all.
Well, that's your team. That's your team of the. Oh, I thought you were gonna take York.
No. Okay, so Stan, the running joke is him and I do a NASCAR show that I host. I do his show that he hosts, and every time we do our picks for like team of the week, best moment of the week, both of our shows, either one of us takes our drivers. Like he always takes the drivers on my show. I always take the stuff on his show.
I take the drivers. I take the paint schemes. I take it all.
Yeah, he takes it all, and then I take his team of the week just about every week. So it's mutual. It's mutual.
No, you didn't take my team this time. I'm taking York.
Yeah,
all right.
Hey, you know what? We had some great teams that did some great things last week. So hey, we could each take our own great one.
Yep. And that wraps up the show. Another good episode of the DuPage Run Shoot in the books. Stan, we were trying to get you on all season long. We're glad you came on.
It was my pleasure.
Matt, as always, thank you so much for coming on. Let's bring on the quarterfinals.
Ooh, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Or if I'm Purcell, I'm a lefty.
Are you lefty too, Stan?
No, I'm not.
Oh, we could have an all lefty show here. Next time. One day.
All right, let's play some football, guys. Quarterfinal time, baby.
Bring it on.
Well, thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode of the DuPage Run and Shoot. We will see you next time. Woo-wee.